All right. So why we heal? And this is more like why you heal. You know, how many times you have had surgery or injury, or you fell, or, you know, some big trauma happened to you. And a lot of times you were told after these injuries, after surgery, that now we just have to heal. Now it has to heal. And we just kind of wait. And so when we have an injury, so let me take you through things that happens for most of us. So our body is self-healing. The natural healing force within each of us is the greatest force in getting well. And that was Hippocrates, of course. So, you know, it has this amazing capacity to heal. And it makes certain hormones to make inflammation, which gives us pain, and then we heal. And, you know, when we have this pain, it kind of tells us, take it easy, slow down. If it's my knee that has inflammation, of course, I'm not going to run a marathon on this knee now. I'm going to take it easier until it's healed. But it knows how to heal. And many times is that when you have an injury, it's not just one thing. Let's say it's my bone. Well, that might carry into my ligaments, my tendons, my fascia, my nerves. I mean, so there's a lot of things that needs to heal. And the patience and the prevention, of course, would have been amazing if we were eating well, if we were exercising before this happened, it went so much better. And one of our guests just stayed here before Christmas for 4 weeks. And then a few weeks later, she had this terrible accident where she misstepped and fell down a few stairs. And she got all bruised up, and it was terrible. But because she had been taking care of herself so much while she was here, I tell you, she came out of it, and everybody told her that the results would have been totally different. So I'm going to take you through. First, we're going to look at the blood. So the blood carries everything for good and bad. And I've looked at blood with the dark field microscope for 20 years. And the things that you see, this beautiful red blood cell carrying oxygen and nutrients, and so much information to your whole immune system. You have white blood cell in there that is going after pathogens, virus, bacteria. You have 5 different kinds. It's like having different agents inside your body that can go anywhere, in your gums, your brain, your gut, everywhere, and look after things. Right here you see one of them, an eosinophil, and their job is to go after yeast, parasites, and allergies. So here you see one that's going to go after a parasite. And many times parasites and virus and bacteria, they hang out together, and it's called biofilm. And they make them stronger, of course, against the antibiotics and against your immune system. So there's many people that come here that have been through so much treatments and antibiotic, and the biofilm is just growing. And here goes the parasite is gone there. You see that? So the way that we would treat that is, of course, the self-healing mechanism of diet, giving good diet, giving exercise into that system. Treatments, we're doing energy medicine, we're doing chiropractic, we do acupuncture, and I will talk more about all these wonderful things. So Now, look at this. This human skin regenerates itself approximately every 27 days. So what if I come here now and I have psoriasis, which now the skin is making too many cells, and I get these patches that are really painful, and the inflammation around them is, you can't stop scratching it. Or you have eczema and you have this dry skin that is now very itchy. So your body makes a special hormone called cytokine. These are cells that actually cause inflammation, but the inflammation is a way to healing. So it's often the opposite of what we think. We're upset when we have inflammation because it leads to pain, right? Bone remodeling, a process where new bone tissue gradually replaces old tissue, exemplifies our body's regenerative capabilities. A broken bone typically has fully healed in 6 to 8 weeks. So you wonder how many times, boy, look at this picture, it's broken. Well, then you put in a cast, and then you have to wait. Then you're told there's nothing more we can do. Now we have to wait. So look at skin cells. They change in about 28 days or 30 days. Blood cells, red blood cells, take about 120 days. And platelets could change in 8-9 days in circulation. Liver cells, that's why liver heals so much faster than any other organ, 3 weeks. So you have, in 3 weeks, you have new cells. Bone cells, yeah, they last about 25 years. Muscle cells are there for a lifetime, just like fat cells. Neurons, they vary. And, more or less the neurons that you have in your brain, of course, we were always told that what you got is what you have. But the good thing is that the hippocampus, which is the learning and memory center in your brain, regenerate new cells. So I remember a long time ago, a Swedish study showed this, especially for Parkinson, and this was very good news. Intestinal cells, 5 to 7 days. So what if I have now gastrointestinal problem, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, in 5 to 7 days? Or what if I have cancer? Now the #1 cancer coming up, especially for younger people, less than 50 years old, is anal rectal cancer. So imagine if I can change those cells in 5 to 7 days, what I'm able to do when I change lifestyle. So lungs are very slow. You have some cells that can change in 2-3 weeks, but they're slow coming back, but they come. So inflammation and pain are critical components in the body's response system, serving as indicator and facilitator of the healing process. So inflammation is always annoying, and I just went through that with my ankle and the pain that comes with it, and then the recovery. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I had to go through that. The role of inflammation in self-healing. Inflammation is a natural response to injury, playing a key role in healing. Chronic inflammation, however, can lead to various health issues, including autoimmune diseases. This is when it's gone, we never really healed, right? And people come with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and it went into this chronic problem. And the body is trying to protect itself. So if we had got the message that you need to change lifestyle, you need to change your diet, but healing is always body, mind, and spirit. So maybe my mind and spirit has not been happy. Maybe I just been too overwhelmed that I couldn't find a way out. Like one of our guests said, who just had heart attack and bypass surgery, he said, I realize now, since he was here at the Institute, why I was so lonely and I could care less what I was eating. And so, he came to his own conclusion for this. Pain as a healing reminder. Pain serves as a reminder for the body to heal and protect injured areas. Yeah, when I had my ankle, do you think I was running marathon on that? No, you don't. It's telling you you need to take care. There's a lot of exercise that I could do with this ankle. Of course, I could do gym, I could do upper body. I could go swimming, I could do acupuncture and energy medicine. I mean, we're very much for energy medicine that works with frequency because your body is electric. So if I can help to speed up the healing with frequencies that works into my frequencies, speed up the healing, amazing. So chronic pain often results from a lack of appropriate action or treatment post-injury. Well, I think most of the time after surgery, you're not really told, you're not really given all the beautiful tools that you should have known about. Like, you need a whole support system of people that can help you now. And acupuncture, of course, is a great chiropractic, maybe, if that's appropriate at that time. I love acupuncture otherwise. And massage and healing touch. So, and psychology, because there is 5 systems that trigger self-healing. And that is your nervous system, your immune system, microcirculation, your muscle relaxation, and of course, psychology. So it's physiology and psychology, and it's the social lifestyle where we have friends, we have family, and people that are positive, and they will help us through that healing process, because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be alone like the guest who had a heart attack. Pain and medication. So long-term use of medication for suffering can sometimes worsen symptoms due to dependency and side effects. So, these opioids are actually getting into our nervous system, and it makes us constipated, it makes us nauseous, we're not really ourselves while we take them, and then we get into addiction. So then it goes on far beyond the time that we might have needed them for the outrageous pain that we might have had to endure after the surgery or the injury that happened. So emphasis on alternative management strategies like physical therapy and diet provides more sustainable relief. I mean, that's something I've seen for all these 50 years. I directed a clinic in Sweden, and we dealt with all kinds of inflammatory problems, from Crohn's colitis, psoriasis, eczema, cardiovascular problem, of course, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, as our founder had rheumatoid arthritis and healed herself naturally. And, it was amazing. I was always on cloud 9, how people could heal. Of course, asthma, emphysema. Asthma, I tell you, we had a 3-story building, and if you came with asthma, you had to stay on the 3rd floor without an elevator. A lot of people could hardly go up those steps. In a few weeks, in a few months, some people stayed a few months, they were running up those stairs, and, it just took long walks with me. We had a big forest just beside the clinic. We were the last house on the road, and there was a big forest there, and they were able to do that before they left. And medication that has so many side effects, the steroids, anti-inflammatory, they usually were off most of that. So pain and medication has its time. I mean, medication has its time sometime, but long-term, absolutely, you need an alternative for that. So factors influencing healing and sleep, of course, sleep and nervous system. The nervous system plays a key role in the healing. It's definitely number one triggering that you have to heal yourself, particularly through the regulation of inflammatory process. Sleep is vital for the body's repair process, include muscle growth and tissue repair. Of course, during sleep, your brain is being cleaned up of especially amyloid, but it's cleaning up waste. And, you know, everybody wonders, how much do you need to sleep? I mean, how many hours do you need to sleep? And so Oslo University in Norway did a study. And they wanted to see the brain volume, the maximum brain volume. And they found that 6.5 hours was definitely maximum brain volume. If this is enough for you, probably not. Maybe 7 hours, maybe 8 hours. If you're a teenager, you're going to sleep much longer. And that's perfectly okay, because you're definitely growing and changing and your hormones are going crazy. So sleep is the time that you give a body the break and the brain, because the brain never stops, your heart never stops. They're constantly going. And you're actually selecting things from the day you just had while you're sleeping in your dreams. It's actually selecting certain things. And the funny thing is that the hippocampus in your brain is where your learning and memory center is. And during the sleep, it empties out into neuroreceptor sites. So you can fill up with much more beautiful memories the next day. So sleep is often, I mean, about 70% of Americans have a sleep problem, sleep deficiency, insomnia. So one treatment that works so well here is tryptophan, as tryptophan is actually made by microbes in your gut. And tryptophan makes serotonin, which is the happy hormone, so that I can function today and I don't freak out for everything that happens. And then serotonin makes melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. Now, if you keep looking at your cell phone before you go to sleep, you know that blue light kills melatonin. So I'm not going to have the good sleep that I could have had. So let's keep that cell phone out of reach, and preferably not in the bedroom at all. And the same with your TV, because the TV is also light but disturbs your melatonin. So because sleep is so important so that you wake up refreshed, and because it is such a big problem, it influencing all your healing, your self-healing methods with all the systems, they're all lacking and suffering. So then you have another factor, microcirculation. Microcirculation is crucial for delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues and removing waste products. So imagine this, you can actually make it work better by exercise and eating right, eating much more fresh vegetables, go on a plant-based diet for sure, and exercise speeds it up. And so that would be really good, especially if I need to heal, right? Because I need to give it to the tissues, the oxygen and the nutrients, and I need to remove waste products. Chronic stress suppresses the immune system and exacerbates disease, right? So then we're going to have to find a way to reduce stress. Some stress is actually okay, but there is that chronic stress where we overwhelm, when life feels like you just can't take care of yourself. That's when people come to the Institute too, when they more or less hit the wall. A lot of people have, and they just need to step out of life and be taken care of for a while. And 3 weeks, they find that adrenal stress takes minimum 3 weeks to heal. So just that in itself. This is my favorite picture taken by Swedish medical photographer Lennart Nilsson. This is white blood cell attacking tumor. So you see the yellow-orange part here is a tumor, and it's being attacked by monocytes. These are the funny looking, looks like little snails, right? And you have the T cells, these little round balls there. And you have B cells and T cells, and they have interferon. And how they get it into this tumor is by drilling. So Leonard Nilsson was the first one to go inside people's bodies with a camera. He is the one who followed the enzyme explosion with the egg and the sperm, and how the life got in for 9 months. He followed that. It was amazing. And he has this picture taken a long time ago, where the interferon is drilled into the tumor and killing it. It's like, this is how they kill anything, though. This is how they help you with inflammation. This is with the injuries. This is how they help you. Your immune system is totally dependent on you. You are the boss. It knows the self-healing. It's a part of all the 5 systems, but I have to eat right. I have to bring the oxygen in. I have to breathe right. Also, another thing about sleeping, most of us are mouth breathing when we're sleeping, when we should be nose breathing. When you're nose breathing at night, you make nitric oxide. That's going to help you with any cardiovascular problem. So that's going to help you prevent heart attack and strokes. So mouth is just for talking and eating. It's not for breathing. So the more you can think about it when you're sitting by yourself and when you're going to sleep, that you want to nose breathe. The immune response to pathogens. So the immune system identifies and responds to pathogens like bacteria and virus using specialized cells and mechanism. Antibodies are produced by B cells, also lymphocyte like T cell, specifically recognize and bind to antigens or pathogens, neutralizing them and marking them for destruction. White blood cells, including lymphocytes, T cells and B cells, and phagocytes, the monocytes, the neutrophils, the eosinophil and basophil, play critical roles in attacking and removing pathogens from the body. So remember, pathogens like virus, bacteria, fungus, parasites, they make something together called biofilm, and that makes them stronger. But you can definitely get rid of that, but we have to change lifestyle. Our stem cells, the origin of all human life, right? Stem cells aid in our body's healing by differentiating into various types of cells required for repairing and regenerating damaged tissues, thus maintaining tissue health and function throughout the body. So these are the stem cells. They're part of every self-healing part that you ever have done. And they become what you want them to become. So if I now have a knee problem and I change my lifestyle and I increase my exercise, my acupuncture, and of course, energy medicine, they will become stem cells for my knees. And they've always done that. It's just that our lifestyle have been sedentary. It has been super processed food. We never ate as bad as we do now. I mean, with the companies, big corporations have got away with putting foods, opioids in our food, and palatable foods, which are just nothing but processed stuff. And we're paying a big, big price. Immune system confusion. So autoimmune disorders happens when the immune system mistakenly attacks the body's own cells, leading to various diseases. Well, for example, MS, multiple sclerosis. So there, we have so much virus and bacteria in our system, and most of them are doing good things. There was a retrovirus that made the myelin sheet around our nerves to protect our nerves. They made this myelin sheet out of protein and fats and special stuff. And now what happened with all this mercury we probably had in our mouths, they've been spraying it on our food, and many other lead and aluminum and God knows what, that actually started to erode myelin sheets of the nerves. And it's not like the body makes a system to attack itself. It's always protecting you. But fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, food that is processed, thoughts that are negative, where we dwell on them over and over, absolutely. The immune system, so imagine now, our self-healing is triggered also by psychology, big time. So that is really important that we work on that. That's why every guest here sees our psychologist. So immune system plays a complex role in cancer, sometimes suppressing tumor growth, and other times when confused, promoting tumor growth. Yeah, and the only way that it would be confused would be body, mind, spirit. It involves all of that. Now you have to go next. Homeostasis and stress triggers. Stressors such as physical trauma and psychological events can disrupt homeostatic balance, impacting health. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis means that it's the balance. It's a balance of everything going on in your body. So it's disruptive, of course. That's why we got to take care. But the more I work with prevention before I have an accident or surgery, of course, the easier I will get through it. Environmental endocrine disruptors like pesticides interfere with hormonal balance and affecting your health. Yeah, so much cancer have come out of this, so much Parkinson and many other diseases. We pay a big price when we really don't want any of this, do we? Genetic manipulated, do we want that? No. I do gardening here. I save anything that's flowering, which means I have seeds for the next time that I want to plant. Genetic manipulated, I get no such seeds. So you are in constant environment, indoors, in your house and outside, where these endocrine disruptors are interfering with your balance. This is very, very dangerous in these days, and nobody wants pesticides on your food. Imagine if I made a beautiful salad for you now, and before I serve it to you, I say, I want to put some glyphosate, some Roundup or something on this food. And you would say, are you nuts? Well, that's what's happening unless you go organic. So here's one of our psychologists, Anthony Chatham, and I want him to tell you what self-healing is about.
Hi. The question now is, why do we heal? The simple answer, we are divine. Of course, some people may think that is blasphemy. We are claiming ourselves to be God. In reality, yes, we are God. Like we say, we are made of stardust. We are made of the divine element. Even in traditional Christianity, we believe in the Holy Spirit. What is Holy Spirit? Holy Spirit is the presence of the divine in me. The same way in Hinduism, for example, the greatest saying that I have found in Hinduism is Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Brahma, the divine. And then the second part of it is Tat Tuam Asi. That is who you are. If we are divine, yes, we heal because the divinity is wholeness. It's an energy that we cannot quite explain in human terms, but the divinity is wholeness. And we all have that ability. This is why you can heal me and I can heal you. And we heal each other. At Hippocrates, this is a phenomenon. That is, everyone who comes into the program to participate, believe it or not, they heal each other. If you look back into your interactions here at Hippocrates, you will notice it is true that people have healed each other. And therefore, we believe we are divine, and let us keep our divinity in everything we do. Let us keep our dignity, everything what we do. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Now, let's listen to Andy Roman, our other psychologist.
The question of healing is really central to what goes on here at Hippocrates Wellness. But what is healing? Why does it happen? This is my take on it. Healing is a natural thing. It's part of nature. Healing means to make whole. And so that includes removing obstacles to nature's natural flow. That includes the heart, the mind, the body. We need to address all of these things at the same time. Why? Because we are all of that. And so healing is to, I'm a therapist, so I'm really into feeling, because I believe feeling is the integrative feature of the human being. And so healing really means it's time to feel and connect and integrate the parts of ourselves that we have put out of our awareness because it was unacceptable or for whatever reason, and to just be a human. Healing is natural. We can remove the obstacles. We do that with colonics. We do that with skincare and massage. We do that with the food that we eat and intermittent fasting. And we also can do that by addressing these issues. It's not just what you eat, it's getting to what's eating you and removing those obstacles. Because what is our nature? We're a part of nature. What is that? You can look at little kids and say, nature is joy, nature is wonder and happiness and even bliss, really. So anything that's between you and that needs to be removed in a way. It needs to be put in its proper place. That's what healing is all about.
Thank you, Andy. So stress and its dual impact, right? Stress negatively impacts health, but manageable level of stress can strengthen resilience. Simple strategies like mindfulness and exercise can mitigate stress negative effects. Yeah, don't you feel amazing after you took time to meditate, or you took time to exercise, do strength training, and take a long walk with a friend? It's, we need to be able to relieve stress, because everybody has stress during the day. It's just not, life can't go without that. And, since human beings have been here on this earth, I'm sure there's been stress. I mean, I read about Hippocrates. He said, the first thing he would do is to put people on a fast for 3 days, and he would help them to de-stress and to not overeat. He always said, you guys overeat. And that was then, imagine. So it's definitely is good. So who are you? The influence of personality on healing. Positive personality traits like gratitude and commitment can enhance healing and overall well-being. The role of personal goals and curiosity in fostering a healthy mind-body. Yes, when you ask centenarians how they live their life, and they will say, you know, I made my own decisions. If I made commitment, I held myself to it. I mean, all these people at New Year's resolutions, how many people hold themselves to it? This is what I'm going to do this year, and then we forget. And, you know, our mind doesn't forget. Our body doesn't forget. You have cellular memory. When I did dark field microscopy, I actually looked at the cellular memory, and it remembers big traumas, it remembers surgeries, it remembers deficiencies that you've had now and in the past. I mean, it's all running around. So being curious, loving to learn new things, is that you? Do we need to have some changes? Do we need to learn new things, right? Impact of social connection on healing. Studies show that patients with regular social interactions and visits from loved ones have better recovery rates. And the risk for mortality is significantly higher in individuals with fewer social relationships. Absolutely. So in Glasgow, Scotland, they did a study. They studied 450,000, 100,000, right? And they studied them for 15 years. And there was ages between 30 and 50, I think. And they found that people who had no visits during those 15 years, there was 40% greater risk of dying. Actually, there was 40% greater mortality. And the people that had one a day visit, no, even one a week visit, no, even one a month visit, did fantastic. So, you know, we need to remember our family, our friends. We need to go and visit them. We need to talk to them. And I think talking on the phone is one thing. Seeing somebody, hugging them, holding their hands, sharing a day, making food together, you know, just being together is really, really important. And boy, do we heal so much faster after that. Psychological pain and physical manifestation. Negative thoughts and beliefs can manifest as physical pain, illustrating the mind-body connection. Absolutely. And like you saw, Andy and Anthony, our psychologists, I mean, this is big time being worked on here. We also have the 4-week cancer program where our physician and psychologist, Dr. Jan Ranicki, comes in. And it's mind-boggling that the mind has so much to do with our problems. And of course, seeing people that have been told that, you know, this cancer is stage 4 and it's palliative treatments and there's not much that we can do. And then you realize, oh, I changed lifestyle, I changed my thoughts pattern, and I get friends and I talk to people that can understand me. Absolutely. Managing psychological pain is crucial for complete healing. So the power of adaptation. Epigenetic changes can be triggered by dietary habits affecting gene expression and poor or good health. The body's adaptive response to maintain homeostasis are critical in stress management. So adaptation, that is how we survive. That is for every plant, every animal, and humans. This is something that we learned. Our bodies have learned. You have innate response, which is what you were born with. Adapted, you have learned through life. And you know, this is definitely so that we survive and we have maximum survival and reproduction. That's what this is about. So sleep and detox. During sleep, the brain removes toxins that accumulate during waking hours. And this is funny. something, and it's a new name. It's not that old. I think it's from 2015. I mean, it's not that old. It's glymphatic system. So glymphatic system is actually clearing waste while we're sleeping. So that is what is clearing clearing amyloid and during the sleep. And so you have lymphatic system that, of course, clearing waste from the whole body, but it's glymphatic that is clearing waste while you're sleeping. And, Hebrew University in Israel found out that even more problematic than the amyloid, because they said, well, for Alzheimer, they've concentrated on the amyloid and to clear that with medication, and that failed. It didn't work. So they said it's the BBB, blood-brain barrier, that could have tiny tears, which now lets pesticides, fertilizers, fungus to move in. And there is a new study saying that, you have your microbiome, of course. Microbiome I have from the nose to the gut. I have it in the nose, I have it in the mouth, I have it in the rectum. I have, of course, women, we have vaginal. So when we give birth, we give in 20 minutes, we give the microbiome to our newborn. And they say we probably have microbiome in our brain. So imagine now the new studies about long COVID, for example, is saying that there is fungus, there might be infections coming in to the brain through the blood-brain barrier that should never be there, because the only thing that should come through the blood-brain barrier is oxygen and glucose. So you have the hippocampus to make insulin. So you have your pancreas make insulin for the rest of the body, but the brain has its own source of insulin to take care of the glucose that comes in. So imagine if fungus come in that should never have a chance to come in. We're not going to be able to think right. We're going to have problems and brain fog, and our bodies are going to suffer just as well. Then comes oral health. So it has been linked to systemic disease, including cardiovascular disease and cancer, and many more, including Alzheimer, including Parkinson, including arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, you name it. Immune intelligence refers to the adaptive capacity of the immune system to recognize and remember pathogens, because you have that memory in cells, and especially your lymphocytes. So poor oral health. Now, this is very much to the mouth breathing I talked about before. We all need to remember nose breathing. Remember, the mouth is for your eating and talking. So when Weston Price went all over the world to study people's teeth, of course, he found that we need to be on a very healthy diet, plant-based diet. And we need to floss and brush our teeth. We need to, like every 6 months, have our teeth cleaned. And, I've seen it with my own kids. So we have 4 children. And the 4 children their teeth are perfect. They never had a cavity. They never had a plaque. And things that, of course, I, being on Swedish diet with all the dairy in the world and meat and chicken and fish and eggs and tons of gluten, I suffered a lot of amalgam in my teeth. Of course, I changed it later on in life into porcelain, but it's been in and out of dental care because of the lifestyle that everybody thought was the right one. So this is very important, and there is a lot of bacteria that could really hurt you, like fusobacterium that lives in your gums. So we want healthy gums. Chewing, when you chew our food and you chew the sprouts, you actually get into these bacteria, and then you can have a water pick and really flush those gums with that, and that's been a good health. Microorganisms role. Beneficial microorganisms in our body, like gut and mouth flora, significantly influence our health and healing. The microbiome's role in immunity, digestion, and even mental health is scientifically established. Yeah, so what you have in your large intestine, you have 100 trillion microbes that work for you and help you, because 90% of the serotonin is made from these. 80% of your whole immune system comes from these bacteria. And there could be some bad, but most of them have to be good for you to be in balance. So there could be some fungus, there could be some virus and bacteria, but they shouldn't have a chance to get into your system in any way. Brown fat and weight training. Brown fat, known for its role in thermogenesis, also aids in metabolizing fat and sugar. Regular weight training increasing brown fat activity, contributing to better metabolic health. So you were born with brown fat that keeps you nice and warm and cushioning your joints and tendons and everything, and then gives you energy, and then it turns to white fat. So white fat is amazing to keep us in good shape when there was danger. Imagine though, we were nomads once upon a time. They say about 700,000 years, maybe later, maybe sooner, we left Ethiopia, where we all actually came from. And we started to we were nomads, obviously. We walked miles and miles, and some days we found lots of food. And we would store what we didn't need. And then the next day, maybe we wouldn't find any food. And now the liver that sits here, right by the last rib on the right side, would take this fat, protein, and everything it's stored, and use it for energy. And our brain still thinks in the same way. So when you see a smorgasbord and you can eat all you want, you probably do. But the problem is, the next day, I could eat the same amount. So I keep adding. And now diabetes, of course, obesity, cardiovascular problems, cancer walks right in. So brown fat is something that I make more that will burn my white fat, especially if I'm obese right now. I need to make brown fat. So sleeping, I make brown fat. Working out, and I mean resistant training, because when you do resistant training, you make a hormone that actually makes brown fat, which will burn my white fat. And then I need essential fatty acid. I need like walnuts, avocado. I need algae. I don't need fish, anything from a fish, because a fish eats algae, and that's how you're going to get omega-3. I need chia seed, hemp seed, flax seeds. I need all the nuts. We don't use cashew or peanuts, but all the other nuts. Of course, walnuts is the highest in that essential fatty acid for you. So essential fatty acid makes brown fat. So now you can burn my white fat. And then I need to take care of my thyroid. And the thyroid needs selenium and iodine. I can eat seaweed, of course, like dulse and kelp. They're great to give me iodine. Most people don't eat enough of it, so I can take iodine, take 100% ionic iodine and selenium, and I take zinc to add to help the thyroid, because it's the master gland in your body, but it also will make brown fat. The importance of posture in healing. Well, a lot of people sit like this. A lot of people work like this for hours and hours. Proper posture is essential for reducing strain on muscles and joints, facilitating better healing. And poor posture can lead to chronic pain and impede the healing process. So when bones are in the right place, then muscle hold them there. So it's the muscle. That's why the previous picture with the strength training is holding my bones. And so I need to work out. Yes, maybe hundreds of years ago, I didn't have to go to the gym to work out because the farm was enough, right? But most of us don't have a farm anymore, and we're working indoors. We might be working from home or in an office. And this is how we sit, and we forget because we get so into our work. But we need proper posture for the healing, and we breathe better, and we have more confidence when we have. So maybe you need a good acupuncturist. We do a lot of acupuncture here. We do a lot of NUCA, Atlas acupuncture, to strengthen our spine, and which strengthen our nervous system. Virus and the microbiome. A strong microbiome can influence the dormancy of virus, enhancing immune system effectiveness. The interplay between gut bacteria and viral infection is crucial in determining disease outcomes. So we really want to work on that microbiome. Now, I often get the question, how do you build the microbiome? What if I took tons of antibiotic? I had to take, let's say you took, you had large constipation, so you took antacids, or you took diarrhea pills or something, and now my gut bacteria is not as good as it should be. It is prebiotic, which you're eating with all the raw food. You're eating it with the sprouts and the avocado and the leafy greens, the spinach, the kale, and all the beautiful lettuces. And that's how you rebuild your microbes. So that is prebiotic. Probiotic will not do a good job without prebiotics. So that is raw food that comes in and plays a big role, as 80% of your whole immune system comes from this. So there is a lot of different viruses that most of us carry, like herpes. Once you've had chickenpox, you have herpes in your system. And there might be others that are dormant, and they are totally dependent on your gut flora. Genetic expression. Plant-based diets positively influence gene expression, reducing the risk of chronic disease. Epigenetic changes from plant-based nutrition have lasting health benefits. So the epigenetic, of course, balance your genetics. So we have certain genetic strengths and weaknesses from our parents, but it's the epigenetic that is kind of the boss at the end of the day. It's my lifestyle, it's my mood, it's my diet, it's, you know, how I take things, how I cope with things. So that is really, there's no better diet than plant-based diet. And when World Health Organization said a few years ago, it's not sustainable with an animal-based diet for the future. So go plant-based, you can never go wrong. And I say, you know, people say it's like taking a leap in the unknown. I say, take a leap in the known, because this institute is nearly 70 years old. And we've taken so many people through this, and so many people have healed themselves through the lifestyle change that they did. And, you know, it's amazing to see the possibilities. Progressive healing originating in ancient Greece emphasizes treating the mind, body, and spirit. Evolutionary medicine provides insights into why certain healing processes develop. So, you know, of course, Hippocrates is who wheat got our name from, but so many, and Egypt, of course, it's been for so many thousands of years used natural self-healing method with herbs and plants to help the body. Hormonal balance. So anti-inflammatory properties. Many plant-based foods are rich in antioxidants and have anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic inflammation is associated with the development of various types of cysts. For example, studies have shown that a diet high in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, which are key components of a plant-based diet, can reduce inflammation in the body. Hormonal balance. Certain types of cysts, like ovarian cysts, are influenced by hormonal imbalance. Plant-based diet positively affect hormone levels. Foods high in fiber, such as fruit, vegetables, and whole grains, help in regulating estrogen levels by facilitating its excretion from the body. So plant-based foods, a plant to not go extinct are making phytochemicals. And phytochemicals help our brain, help our bodies, help our whole immune system. So when studies were made, for example, about curcumin, they said, my gosh, where have this been? This is fantastic. So it's helping the plant not to go extinct, and it's helping the plant to fight off pathogens. But it helps us, and especially helps us prevention of dementia and Alzheimer and Parkinson. Over the past few years, sperm count is declining, and 1 in 6 people have trouble conceiving. I mean, this is a big, big problem. So look at this. If you go back to 1951, 1 million semen, so if you took 1 million semen, that had 100 million sperms in it. Then they tested it 1970, and it was reduced 50%. They tested it 1990, it was even more reduced. If it keeps going, they say by 2040, what's going to be there? So a big part of this is the lifestyle. A big part is the cell phones. We carry them in our pockets, and the sperm count goes down. So stop wearing the cell phone in your pocket. It's not just for the sperm count. Maybe you already are a dad, but it's for your testicles, for your prostate, for your liver, your kidneys, you name it, for your gut. Then you have things that will help you, of course, our whole lifestyle. But one thing, all the essential fatty acids, the almonds, the walnuts, the pecan, the filberts, actually increase sperm count. So if you're trying to get pregnant, get your guy to eat much better. So here is Selma, and she will tell her story.
Hi, my name is Selma. I came to Hippocrates 10 years ago. And when I came here, it was a time of burnout, depression, and a lot of sadness, as I had learned that I had ovarian cysts, and of course that I had learned I couldn't have children. I have been going through Hippocrates for a 10-year journey, and the greatest thing about Hippocrates is that it feels like home. In that time, I've been able to have 2 beautiful children. They're the light of my life, and I 100% credit the family of people that are here, the support, and the love I've received from Hippocrates. Thank you.
So Selma is just one of the examples having babies after being here. And, it's, of course, the most beautiful thing to be able to conceive, especially after you have tried everything. And a lot of people have even tried fertility drugs and have not worked and been able to conceive. So in recent Senate hearing testimony, concerns were raised about the harmful trajectory we have permitted large corporations in the food and beverage industry to follow. These companies have been enticing children to consume products laden with excessive amount of sugar, salt, and saturated fats, specifically formulated to encourage overeating. This issue has escalated to the point where the majority of children are now consuming an overabundance of overprocessed foods. This is a very bad start on a life that's growing, the brain that's growing, and the immune system that's growing. It's a sad story. This picture I took at the Science Museum in London, and it said, he said his first word today. So mommy gave him something to rot his teeth away. I mean, a lot of times we don't even think that this is a problem because this is what we did, right? The sugars we ate, the ice cream we ate, and the dental stuff that we had to deal with for the rest of our life, right? A lot of people don't even have teeth by the time they reach 80, 90 years old. I mean, the teeth, they have a hard time to eat. For some people here, we have to blend the food because it's so hard to chew, especially raw food, when you don't have teeth. So it's very sad. And they know now that by the age of 5 or 6 years old, half of kids have already tooth decay. I mean, this is nuts. So according to a recent study, sugar makes up over 73% of our nation's food supply and can be as addictive as alcohol and cigarettes. Actually, it's 30 times more addictive than cocaine and heroin. Diabetes and obesity rates soar. And of course, the kids are the ones that gets it worse. Then you have artificial sweetener that you would think, because World Health Organization and many other organizations have now considered, especially aspartame, as a carcinogen, that it wouldn't be in sodas. Like the diet soda is loaded with it. No, they added more in sodas and our food, okay? A study conducted by researchers at Johns Hopkins University found that artificial sweeteners, especially sucralose and saccharin and aspartame, can significantly alter the microbiome in both the gut and mouth. This alteration was observed to lead to notable increases in blood sugar level. It actually increased diabetes. Additionally, the study points out concerns regarding aspartame, indicating it's classified as a carcinogen. This classification raises additional health concerns related to its consumption. Yeah, you don't need it. You stop eating all sugars. There's no sugar you need that would do something good in your body, right? Now, this was a drive in Canada. We were in Calgary not long ago, and it said, human food kills wildlife. Please don't feed them anything. And human food is mainly cooked, isn't it? I mean, here it's raw, but normally it's all cooked meat, cooked chicken. That would kill wildlife. If you have pets at home, they get our diseases because they're eating everything cooked, right? Your dogs, your cats, I mean, they're carnivores, but they're meant to eat fresh, raw stuff, right? So they get our diabetes, they get our cancer, they get our arthritis, they get all our diseases. Now, this is out of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Essene Gospel. And you're talking a long time ago. The forces that steal the life from your food also steal the life from your body. The forces that give life to your food give life to your body. Therefore, choose the forces that give life to your body. The Essene Gospel. So plant-based diets are linked to a lower risk of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. Mental health benefits, improved moods, and cognitive function associated with plant-based nutrition. Why? So why would it do that? Because it's coming in with phytonutrients and hormones and oxygen and enzymes to aid every cell, my digestion, my absorption, my elimination. It's bringing you to the natural source that you were supposed to eat. Our digestive tract, you don't have claws. Your digestive tract is very long compared to a carnivore. Your teeth, you don't have the fangs like a carnivore. So you obviously were meant for a plant-based diet. Fasting and body recovery. Fasting triggers autophagy, a process where cells remove toxins and repair themselves. It enhances the immune system's regenerative capabilities. And it's really this way. The brain gets a little bit stressed when you're fasting, and it now wants to protect itself. So it wants to protect even more that pathogens doesn't get into the brain. So it's a good stress for the brain. Our fasting, of course, is on juices, and it's not carrot juice and beet juice, it's a green juice. Our juice, 50% is sunflower sprouts and pea sprouts. And then the other 50, we have celery and cucumber, and you can add parsley and kale, and you can add leafy greens to it. If you don't find everything organic, you add the sprouts, but you can add cabbage, you can add stalks of broccoli and cauliflower. Don't ever throw them away, put them in the juice, because they still have loads of minerals for you. So the fasting, of course, is something that most religions do. And many, many culture has it as a part of the culture, because it's a cleansing. It's a time of rest and meditation and prayer. And here at the Institute, we do it every Wednesday. Then you have also intermittent fasting, which is an amazing immunobooster, where you skip one meal and you eat well the other two. And, by doing that, you give your body a longer break. But so fasting is getting your body a break where it can clean. I always look at it as if in my desk at my office, I have tons of things to take care of. And then you give me a day off. And I come in and I go through it all. My desk is clean and I can start up again. Or the worst is if I have all of that and then you give me just as much again, I'm not going to get to my problems. Give your body a break. Raw plant-based diet and immune system. So raw plant-based diets are rich in enzymes and phytonutrients, enhancing immune function. Such diets reduce inflammation and feed gut microbiota, supporting overall health and longevity. Plant-based diets are high in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, which are crucial for a robust immune system. You know that most of these things in cooking are not there. These are very highly sensitive to heat, right? Phytochemicals in plants like flavonoids and carotenoids play a significant role in immune modulation and disease prevention. These guys, they don't survive heat. So when I, for example, dehydrate and I want to make things in the dehydrated, I keep it less than 118 from Dr. Howell's study about enzyme. And so I keep mine on 115, 115 or 47 Celsius. And then I can make things, but otherwise you eat things like they are. You make beautiful salads. So plant-based diets are associated with lower levels of inflammation due to high fiber and antioxidant content. Your reduced inflammation is key in preventing chronic disease and facilitating healing process. I wanted to show you something that we do for some people. This is not if I have cancer, but this is if I have arthritis or asthma, and I have eczema, psoriasis. This has been amazing. I use apples. So I have this bowl of apples here, and I use garlic. So garlic, of course, keeps my body and my brain in good shape. And most cultures use garlic. Western cultures, maybe not so much, but we have a lot to learn. So first, I have to make something to be able to do this. I make flax water. So flax seeds are loaded with fiber, great omega-3, and so it's a great essential fatty acid. So I have, let's say, I have a liter or a gallon of water. I will take about 6 ounces of flaxseed that I will put in. And now what I will do, I will stir this because they kind of glue into it. So flax seeds are mucilous. They're mucilous. So as they're sitting, I let this sit overnight. You can put it in the fridge. And then I drink this water. This water is amazing if I have Crohn's and colitis, but I just drink the water and I can refill. So this one now, I can refill at least 2 or if not 3 times. So I just add more water and then I have it. So for Crohn's and colitis, we do a lot of that. Then you have apple and garlic. So what I will do is I take the apple in slices and you make tiny pieces like this. And then I take the garlic. I have one peeled here and I slice it like this. So imagine now, first I drink the flaxseed water because that protects my whole gastrointestinal tube. So I don't burn when I eat garlic. And then I chew piece of garlic, piece of apple, and I chew it together. So as a treatment here, we have it 3 times a day. So I only eat the amount of apple I need. And I usually start with 2 cloves of garlic 3 times a day. So I can easily eat, for a big apple like this, I could eat 5, 6 cloves of garlic. So you save it. The pectin in the apple makes it palatable. So that's the only fruit that worked with this. But garlic is anti-inflammatory. So it's aiding the whole process. You know, so many people have gone through, and this is also what we did in the Swedish program with all the arthritis and asthma and eczema and even cardiovascular problem where you've had high cholesterol and high blood pressure. So this is something everybody can use. The flaxseed water, if you want to use it for a while, that's a good thing for gastrointestinal aid. So when people have constipation or diarrhea, even here, the first thing I tell them, go and drink that flaxseed water. So that is a trick up your sleeve. So now you have, and that's something I would do anytime if I had a cold. If I got a flu or a cold, I go right back to this. And so, you know, it's worked for so many people because of all the apples. Of course, with cancer, we'll just have garlic added to juice or press it on my food. And the apples is not, the fructose in apple is not a good idea because it would feed cancer. So for that reason, we stay out of that. But hey, one day you're out of that cancer and fruit will come back. Benefits of hydration. Adequate water intake is vital for cellular health and efficient functioning of the body system. Hydration plays a key role in detoxification and supporting immune response, as well as healthy skin and appearance. Absolutely. So if for example, if you weigh 160 pounds, so NIH says you should drink 1/2 ounce per pound you weigh. So how many ounces do you need? If you're 160 pounds, you need 80 ounces of fluids, a little more than 2 quarts. A quart is 32, so let's say 2.5 quarts of fluid. But that including our green juice, like we drink 16 ounces twice a day, that's already a quart. We have wheatgrass, which we drink 2 ounces twice a day. And maybe you want to drink more if you're anemic, if your platelets are low, up so much as you can of that wheatgrass. And then we have water, but you have lemon in the water, and you might have herbal tea, caffeine, of course, caffeine-free, herbal, organic stuff. So water is very, very important that it's purified. And the best water you can get is distilled water. And the best is to make your own distilled water by getting a distiller. You don't have to schlock water in a bottle that is estrogenic and feeds cancer. So as water, you know, only 1% of the water is actually drinkable, because the ocean water, of course, we can make it drinkable, but if you say it's not drinkable right now, the snow can be drinkable, the glaciers can be drinkable, but no, the glaciers is going into the ocean water, and that's a problem. So when it comes to fresh water, it's like 1% of the water in the world. So we need to be careful about water. We need to not think that it's unlimited, because most of the world knows better. In the Western world, we think it's unlimited, and absolutely not. And, you know, going back to adaptation, for example, we all make our homes where there is water, don't we? We want to know that there is water source. Well, so does plants. Plants put their roots down in the soil and they get water. That's adaptation. That's how they work. And so does every animal. They know they have to be close to a water source. So Hippocrates said it's more important to know what sort of person has a disease than to know what sort of disease a person has. So they wanted to know if you know yourself. They wanted to know, Socrates wanted to you figure out what kind of person are you, because lifestyle is very simple once you realize, and you realize your own limits and your success and your possibilities. And you know, I think we put a lot of limits in our life because other people told us that those were our limits. So let's not go there, right? So here's some question for you. What's my intake of living, green, sprouted, and raw plant-based foods? Do I eat enough of these foods to support my body's natural healing process? Think about that. How does my activity level or lack thereof impact my health? Am I engaging in enough physical activity to support my body's need? Well, your body wants to move. It needs to be strengthened every day. If I can't do enough of activity right now, because maybe you just had a surgery, then get massage, get acupuncture, get any way that you can up your frequency in your body. How do I manage stress? And what practices do I follow to maintain my mental health? Are these practices effective in supporting my well-being? Do I have hobbies? Do I love music? Do I go to see art? Do I spend time with family, with friends? Do I spend time with myself too? You know, to be alone is different to be lonely. Lonely, absolutely, it kills you. You saw that. How much time do I spend using my cell phone or near devices that emit electromagnetic fields each day? Absolutely, we need to limit this. You know what this does, it creates depression and anxiety, and the kids are the ones that are really the worst hit with this because they're brought up with it. I was not brought up with it. I'm still learning more. Brian and I look at our cell phones as answering phones and giving phone calls, but of course there's so much more to it that you can spend all day on that, and you can't. Now we have 5G. It's more dangerous than any other generation you had before, and electromagnetic changes your hormones, changes your balance, your homeostasis in your body. So I say sooner or later in life, our body, mind, and spirit will be tested. So we have to be fully prepared and armed with self-realization and gratitude. So I made the music for this, Blake, and you know, we hope that you realize that it's kind of human beings that think that we can do better than nature, than how we were created. And we try to biohack everything. The respect for nature needs to be immense. And we need to start looking at what's happening in nature. How much do we love to be alive? And, you know, I hope you can keep in touch with us. We have an online program, a coaching program. We have our magazine, Healing Our World. This is all free, it's digital. You can find it under Hippocrates Wellness. We have a beautiful film that's called Wellness, The Journey to Transformation. And you can follow people that have healed themselves through their lifestyle change. And I just hope that you all get something out of this and realize the self-healing that all of us have that needs your participation. And be there and be conscious about the choices that you make, because you always have a choice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all that information. You
you.
put a lot of topics there, so
Yes.
appreciated. So for the so we're going to begin the Q&A just real quickly. How would people get in touch with you?
Through the Institute, they can call the Institute at 561-471-8876. I guess there's an 800 number. I don't remember. Do you remember, Kevin? No. Yeah, here you go. Here you go.
There we go. All right, perfect.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Anyone interested in checking out Maria Clement's books, you can see what books she has out at the Real Truth About Health.com's website under the bookstore, and then you can go ahead and purchase it over at Amazon or wherever else you suggest that people purchase your books. So for the audience, if you'd like to ask a question of Maria, you can go ahead and raise your hand in Zoom. We don't take questions from the chat. We did put the instructions about how to raise your hand in Zoom into the chat if you're not aware how to do that so far. So you mentioned epigenetics, and you know, for many years, and I think it's still a very popular idea, we've been taught that genetics is the end-all be-all. And sometimes we're told if we got high cholesterol or high blood pressure, that, you know, oh, you know, did your parents have it? Oh, it's just genetics. Here's some medication to lower it.
Yeah.
What would people be surprised to find out is controlled through epigenetics, is controlled through environmental factors such as what we eat, as opposed to genes? And what have you seen in your own experiences at Hippocrates?
Yeah, genes is about 5% of the problem. So 95 is epigenetic, and 95% is epigenetic. Only 5% is genetic. So, you know, we've been concentrating so much on genetic, and people are living in fear. Oh, your mom had cancer. She had cancer. Oh, you're going to get it too. Absolutely not. That means that is my way of thinking, my way of living, my environment. Am I indoor all the time? I need fresh air. I need to open windows. I need to go outside. I need food that will invigorate my spirit and my body. You know, it's, I mean, we kind of, in our society now, especially in Western culture, we live to eat. we gotta eat so we can live. So it's a funny way. I mean, it's all around eating. And here, for example, at the Institute, nobody's ever hungry. Nobody's hungry. They have so much of nourishment in the juice form, in the salad form, in the sprouts, of course, that is pure medicine, that they're not hungry. So, you know, this overeating, overabundance that we somehow are entitled to, we kind of think that because we are entitled. Well, our bodies are not made like that. Our body still thinks as when we were nomads. I'll eat today because tomorrow I might not have any food. And that's the way that it thinks. So of course, I want you to eat meals every day, but you also need a day of fast. I mean, it's so amazing cleaning up the body, giving the body a break, giving the brain a break, and just helping to clean. It's rebuilding your system and cleaning.
And what have you seen as far as a reversal of disease you know, just like, you know, one thing that people would be really surprised that we're told is genetics and destiny.
Well, I would say so many people are told that they have some special gene, like BRCA gene, let's say, and so mom and grandma had breast cancer, let's say that, and you have the BRCA gene. What if I change my lifestyle? And that only is 5% of my problem. Absolutely, I don't have to get any of that cancer. So, you know, and some people they're born, the methylation process is not great for them, and they need help to digest better. B12, methylated B12 is absolutely important. And so we use supplements. Supplements is a part, for sure, of daily life because the soil is depleted, especially of selenium and magnesium and calcium. And, you know, the calcium we should really get from all the leafy greens and the grains and the sprouted seeds, like sunflower seeds, sesame seed, pumpkin seeds. I mean, we definitely should get enough. But we do use a lot of supplements to help, and especially we have something called a core kit, and that's what everybody gets when they arrive here, and that is vitamin D and B12 and enzymes and chlorella, which is a green algae, and they get probiotic. So it's like the core that we ask everybody to take, and while they're changing lifestyle, and to keep going.
And the green algae, what is that for? Is that for? So
chlorella is amazing to level blood sugar balance, to give you extra protein, and it is an amazing nourishment. It's a freshwater lake algae.
And you mentioned opioids in the food. What foods should we?
So there is unnatural opioids in processed food, like a lot of things. It's, of course, in most of the packaged foods, like the cookies and the chips and things like that. It's actually nanoparticles, so they're so tiny they don't have to be in the ingredients. They're not mentioned. So if you think what Coca-Cola once was, it was cocaine. Well, this is now going down to minor nanoparticles, but it's in. That's why you can't stop yourself. That's why you get so hooked that you can't wait to eat the next chocolate bar, the next ice cream. I mean, any processed stuff.
And when did opioids start getting put into our food system?
Oh, that I don't know. Maybe probably the last 50 years at least.
Okay, so this has been going on for a long time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about sleep, and specifically the glymphatic system and detoxing. How do we ensure that we are getting that we're actually detoxing appropriately through our lymphatic system when we sleep.
The lymphatic system needs exercise. You stand on the trampoline if you have one. You eat well because it needs oxygen and nourishment. Your white blood cells are roaming around, and the lymphatic system gets into the blood. Vascular system, of course, can go anywhere. But it is very important. Movement is important, and probably as important as the food that you eat and the water that you drink, because the lymphatic system needs a lot of fluid to function well. If it's dehydrated, it's not going to do a good job.
Right. That's the lymphatic system. What about the lymphatic system when you're,
the lymphatic system needs the same. It needs fluid. It needs food. It doesn't, I mean, if I am eating things that are not organic, which means now I do get pesticides, I get bad hormones from that. It's going to definitely interfere with my lymphatic system, but I need to sleep for that to work, It's the sleep that makes that work.
And given the importance of sleep, what do people get wrong when, a lot of people complain of sleep issues, and a lot of it's to their own making. What do people get wrong when
Yes. Well, most of us go to bed too late. So we need to follow circadian rhythm. We need to be in bed by 9. And, it's tough. I know, because you have probably work you took at home, kids have homework. But we need to set a limit, because we're just taxing our life and shortening. I mean, that just is not good for longevity, absolutely not.
And you talk about the oral microbiome. What are your thoughts on mouthwash? So
mouthwash, there are some healthy mouthwash, and absolutely you can use mouthwash, but it has to be really good plant-based stuff. And I mean, good dental care is that I chew a lot of food that are raw, and that I don't eat absolutely dried fruits. Tends to sit in your gums and putrefy there and make cavities. So when you eat, if you did eat that, or you eat fruit, then floss and brush your teeth. Mouthwash is more for making sure pathogens don't take over. So it's not a bad thing, but I like water flush with the water pick is fantastic. And there are solutions that you can add that. The solution we carry is called PerioScript. Periodent has amazing toothpaste, and but it really comes down to what I eat and drink at the end of the day.
So is there any danger of damaging the oral microbiome with things like mouthwash?
Yeah, well, there are pure chemicals ones. Of course, you don't want to use any of that. No, you have to find something really, I forget the brands, but you can go to health stores and find something good.
And what about your thoughts on fluoride in toothpaste?
Oh, absolute, never, ever. Fluoride is a neurotoxin, and you sure don't want it in your mouth.
Great.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw it to the audience real quickly for a couple of questions. Evelyn, stay away from it and ask your question.
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I heard Brian say that at the Institute, you don't use any vinegar on food or as a drink. But there was an MD on this web conference who said that you could increase your nitric oxide by eating a handful of raw greens with balsamic vinegar. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we don't put it on food. Of course, vinegar, if you want to take 2 tablespoons in a glass of water first thing in the morning, absolutely. It's a great kidney bladder cleanse, great for prostate problems. No, but we don't mix it with food, because it will ferment everything you ate and delay your digestion and elimination. I mean, it's as simple as that. Yes, of course, any which way. Nose breathing makes more nitric oxide. We have products like Circulation Max that makes nitric oxide. Of course, the food that we eat also will make nitric oxide. So take the apple cider vinegar by itself. Don't mix it with food.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question is coming from Joe W. Please state what
Thank you so much. Joe from California. Anna Marie, I think you and Brian are the best natural experts, and Hippocrates the best place in the U.S. I don't think there's any doubt. Since you teach that raw and sprouted food reverses disease, and I know that's an academic question, but would you say that anything else is the cause of disease? Does eating cooked plants cause disease?
Yes, and I mean, look, the deal is, and thank you for asking, Joe. The deal is that we want ultimate nourishment. We want to nourish people with the ultimate ingredients, the vitamins, the proteins, the fats, you know, the minerals, everything. So, of course, when I eat cooked food, it causes a medical term called leukocytosis, which means that my immune system actually have to attack it as if it was an invader. And there's no ifs or buts about that. Is that okay for most people? Well, yes, it's okay. But so Brian and I eat about 90% raw, 10% is cooked. I maybe do a squash. I bake a squash. We have a piece of that, or I soak and sprout some beans and I make hummus. Which you, by the way, can make raw or cooked, for that matter. It's when you overdo it, and it tends to be just cooked food. Of course, your immune system is going to say, how the heck am I going to take care of all that? And how am I going to digest it well when I really were meant for fresh, raw food? So yes, it is a part of the problem. If it's a plant-based, it's much less a problem, of course, than if it was meat and chicken and fish and dairy products and the eggs that, you know, people are consuming like crazy nowadays. For example, when colon cancer, rectal and anal cancer is #1 for people under 50 now, this is an epidemic, and this is absolutely food related.
Thank you. And you're talking about adipose tissue, brown fat. Where is brown fat stored on the body? And
mainly up here, shoulders, upper neck, upper here. That's why the babies are so cuddly and the little fatty there.
All right, so all the places where that make us feel fat, that's the white fat?
Yeah, it's here. No, it's right here.
Okay,
the
so
white fat sits here.
And
And
when
it was meant to be, because the liver sits here by the last rib on the right side, and the liver would take and burn that when I didn't have food to eat. So now we have to burn that by doing the things, the sleeping, taking care of our thyroid, eating essential fatty acid, and working out. So that's the way.
And when we do things to lose the white fat, do we also lose the brown fat, or does that persist?
No, you're making brown fat to get rid of white fat. No, but brown fat is something you have to keep making, because you were born with it, but then it turns to white fat. So I have to keep making that for the rest of my life. That's why.
You said sleep and exercise contribute.
Sleep, resistant training, essential fatty acids, and take care of my thyroid. My dad, who's 96, works out, he walks, he does weights at home by himself. He eats a plant-based diet. He's as healthy as could be, totally independent.
Thank you. And what are nutrients that we used to get from our food that we're no longer able to, and therefore we should consider supplementing?
Oh, well, we don't get enough B12 from our food. So B12 is a soil-based bacteria. It's not just a vitamin. It's a soil-based bacteria, so you need to get the right thing. And that is something we say, if there's one nutrient that we want everybody to take, because it's pure brain health too. It's for the brain big time. So we want everybody to be on a good soil-based bacteria form of B12. Vitamin D, it's taken up by the sun and the skin. So vitamin D, if you do get, but most people live indoors. Most people don't get enough sunlight to make enough vitamin D. So that might be something you need to take. Enzymes to help your digestion. That's why it's a part of our core kit, that we take digestive enzymes before we eat. And now it's also for longevity. So, but I take selenium and iodine, and I take zinc, and I take magnesium, I take phosphorus sometimes. These are all 100% ionic minerals that, of course, the Adon, which is a good company that also has been many times at The Real Truth About Health. And by the way, I'm so grateful to be a part of The Real Truth About Health for the 11th year. So this is mind-boggling that what you guys are doing, and we're so grateful.
Thank you, and we're grateful to have you for all these 11 years. So thank you so much. And when we're considering taking supplements, should we just go ahead and take, the ones that you said, or should we go get tested and see what our levels are? What are your thoughts on the necessity to get, all of our biomarkers correct with regard to testing?
Absolutely. We do testing here. We have SpectraCell, and we have other gut tests that can be done. Absolutely. If you really want to know nitty gritty, and not just the ones that we give you, because there could be others. I mean, absolutely, it's not a bad idea. But then you also need to have consultation with somebody who understands, because there is a lot of supplements that would do more harm than good.
What would be an example of a supplement that would do more harm than good?
Supplements that are totally processed and that are not, they have to be plant-based, and they have to be soil-based.
Thank you.
So that's, yeah.
And sometimes, even though we don't want to, sometimes we still have to take antibiotics. How do we, what's the best way to overcome that or mitigate the damage to our microbiome and subsequently
Yeah, so of course life's going to happen, and sometimes you need to take it. Then of course you take probiotic. So, but we realize that the prebiotic is what we're eating here. That's all the sprouts. If you look at our buffet, I mean, it's the prebiotic. It's raw, and then probiotic will work. But if I just do probiotic and I'm still eating my chicken and fish, it's going to take a long time. It could take 6 months for it to recover. So if I want to speed it up, I get on a raw food diet. Absolutely.
And speaking about things like chicken, on top of the inherent dangers or challenges with eating animal products, do the antibiotics that are put into the animals that we eat, does that go into our body and now it affects our microbiome from as an antibiotic?
Yes, of course it does. And so that's why you see so many people now with anal, rectal, and colon cancer. I mean, this is a big part of it. It's very sad because this is a serious disease. And so many people have come with these diseases and recovered. But, usually it's surgery and chemo and radiation. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And you could have prevented it on a raw food, plant-based diet.
And is that specifically because of the antibiotics that is being put into our food, causing disruption to our microbiome?
Well, the foods that come in with antibiotic, the chicken, the meat, the cow meat, and the eggs. I mean, eggs brings you even E. coli and salmonella. You know what they find in women when they have breast cancer, that the breasts that have cancer have E. coli and salmonella. And that comes from fecal. It doesn't come from spinach. It comes from fecal matter. So this is a big part of that meat too. What do you think happens in the slaughtering? There's no way. So many times they recall because they find E. coli and salmonella. They have to recall tons of eggs, tons of meat, tons of hot dogs, or you name it.
Thank you. And what are your thoughts on eating fermented food for gut health?
Yeah, and that has been great. We do sauerkraut and kimchi here at the Institute. So of course, most cultures in the world are eating some kind of fermented foods. So, it's a part of our buffet for sure.
And so sprouts. So at Hippocrates, you guys sprout things like nuts and beans. Is that correct?
We sprout beans, we sprout everything. So on our buffet, you have sunflower sprouts, pea sprouts, buckwheat sprouts, you have bean sprouts, of course, and you have, of course, broccoli sprouts. That was so studied by Johns Hopkins, and they found that it has sulforaphane, and which is anti-cancer, top notch. And we sprout everything. We have beet sprouts that are gorgeous, and so we don't eat the beets. We eat the beet sprouts. It's fantastic. They're red, gorgeous. And of course, we have cabbage, radish, all kinds,
And what kind of beans do you suggest people sprout? And what kind of beans do you suggest people avoid sprouting?
Well, we don't use black beans and soybeans. So what you see on our buffet, we do bean sprouts, we do lentil sprouts, chickpeas. If you like to sprout Adzuki beans, they're perfect, and red beans, you name it.
And why do you avoid black beans and soybeans when you consider?
They're much harder to digest, and they also are making you much more acidic. And living in this time, the acidity helps virus to survive. And virus love an acidic condition in our body, and cancer eats virus for food. So it's a vicious circle. So we don't want to be acidic.
One of the things, soy is obviously a contentious issue. There was the idea that there was phytoestrogens, and then that was kind of explained. But part of that discussion was the idea that populations that eat large amounts of soy tend to be protected from cancer. Is that, do you find the opposite, or do you find something different at Hippocrates?
No, so there are parts of soy. There's a product we use called Helan, which is a fermented soy product. And there's a part of that is amazing for really anything, but a lot of people with cancer have used it, but people with arthritis and other things have used it too, because it's an immunobooster. Fermented soy like tempeh definitely can be helpful. It depends on what's going on in our life, and it has to be organic because it's genetic manipulated otherwise.
Right. And you mentioned that you don't sprout cashews and peanuts. Why do you avoid those nuts?
So we avoid them. The peanuts have an fungus, an aflatoxin that is a carcinogen, and cashews are much harder to digest for you. So almonds, of course, pecan, walnuts, filberts, you name it. It's so much easier. Then you have the seeds, and the seeds like sunflower seeds, sesame seed, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds like we just did here. These are amazing omega-3s, essential fatty acids, and complete proteins.
And so cashews are used a lot in vegan recipes, especially when you're making cheese sauces. Does soaking cashews, overnight make it easier to digest, or is that still problematic for digestion?
Yeah, somewhat, but I would alternate that with almonds and maybe put some pine nuts, because pine nuts makes everything creamy. So you could do the same with walnuts and pine nuts.
Okay.
And just skip it. Yeah.
And you talked about sugar and not putting any, you basically said, no sugars. What are your thoughts on date sugar?
So date sugar is sugar, like honey and maple syrup. It's sugar. Sugar is sugar. So we use stevia here. Stevia is a natural sweetener. It grows in South America like weeds, and it's been used as a sweetener for a long time there. And, it's, that's okay. it's very sweet. If you know wheatgrass juice, I mean, it's kind of that sweet. So you don't need much at all.
So with regard to date sugar, you know, from what I've learned, it's just pulverized dates. Is that still, even though it's a whole food, is it still problematic?
Well, and then it is for a lot of people today, because a lot of people are fighting fungus and allergies and cancer. So, you know, for us, we kind of have to be maybe stricter than strict because we want our guests to be successful. And, you know, for us, we've learned, I mean, it's nearly 70 years. We're the oldest lifestyle. We created the lifestyle medicine, you know. So it's, for us, it's like, I wouldn't say to have it.
Thank you. And you said that you have about 10% of your diet cooked, and you mentioned squash. Are there other things that are okay?
Yeah, sweet potatoes, beans, grains like millet, quinoa, amaranth, teff, buckwheat, you know, all the gluten-free grains, beans, all the beans. I mean, I can make beautiful things. If for the 10%, I can make Mexican dinners. I just take different beans and I mash them with Mexican spices and, you know, chop a lot of different vegetables. And there are tortillas that are organic, that are GMO free and all of that, and that I can just have fun with. I make hummus, of course. My kids loved hummus. And, you know, it's been a staple in our home too when it comes to the cooked food. Although here at the Institute, we make raw hummus and it's creamier than cream. It's fantastic. So I don't have to cook really.
And do you sprout the beans before you cook them, or do you just cook the beans?
Yes, absolutely. I soak them overnight in a bowl and then I sprout them, which you can do in the fridge if you like without water, because now they've been soaked and you could just leave them twice. I would leave them 2 days in the fridge and then I cook them. And so now you broke down the fat to fatty acid, carb to simple sugar, and protein to amino acids. So this is baby food. It's so much easier to digest for you.
Okay, that's the first time I heard it, no pun intended, broken down that way. That, you know, that you're and all of the macros into more digestible fashion. So we've got about a minute left. If you'd like to leave us with what leaves you optimistic for the future with regard to getting the word out about this, and any final messages.
Well, I think that so much is coming this way about lifestyle, about longevity, that people are starting to look at what can I do to improve myself. And we have this beautiful movie now that's on YouTube that's called Wellness, A Journey to transformation. And, you know, and being with you guys, the real truth about health, and people have seen that year after year, all these speakers, which even though we might have little bit different ideas about, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're going plant-based, right? And we have all seen what is happening when we don't. And it's not sustainable to eat animal food. And, you know, when people have to have a drive in Canada about not feeding wild animals or kind of food because it will kill them, that talks for itself. But then you think, well, maybe humans should say, don't eat human food, it will kill you. Let's start eating plant-based foods. And the kingdom of that is amazing. And take care of yourself. You know, that's what we always hope. We teach. It's a lot about teaching here at the Institute and taking care of ourselves. And you have to start with yourself first.
Great. Thank you so much, Anna Maria. So
thank you.
Thank you. If we can unmute the audience so they can share their appreciation, please.
Thank you, Anna Maria.
Thank you, Anna Maria.